I think it might be time. Josh Richardson, the starter, two-way player, clutch defender, clutch shooter, solid player. That dude needs minutes, right? A lot of players played some good basketball tonight, and the Spurs won a game. I was saying in the last video that the Spurs need to win 2 games this week to stay alive. That's pretty thin margins. They got the first one. They got to get one more out of the next 3. It's going to be tough. But anyway, tonight was a good night. It was a good night. It was treacherous at times because the lead disappeared. The Spurs looked like they were going to maybe run away with it pretty early. And they won the first quarter, 31-22. And then they let the Lakers back in. Lakers got back in the game. They took the lead mid-third. But the Spurs fought, and they won. Now, of course, Lakers didn't have LeBron. Didn't have AD. Spurs didn't have Vassell, Lonnie Walker. I mean, it's a pretty equal trade-off right there if you ask me. But, yeah, Spurs got it done. DeJounte. He was solid all game, especially early on. He looked a little gassed towards the end. Like, he kind of took himself out of some plays on offense more than he normally does, but he was going all-out energy, especially early in that game, aggressively pursuing steals, being a ball hawk. He gets a little spark whenever he goes up against LeBron. I mean, LeBron was there. I know LeBron didn't play, but LeBron was there. It seems like every time DeJounte, back to the Cleveland days, every time DeJounte matches up against LeBron, he gets a little spark of energy. He's a little bit more active. He does a little bit more. And you couple that with how much more skilled he is now and how good he looks now. It's pretty dangerous, DeJounte. What I liked the most out of the team was what they got energy-wise from some role players. Those guys are Primo, Trey, and especially Josh Richardson. Josh Richardson, he wasn't crisp early on offensively. A couple of weird shots, but he does things on defense that keeps himself in the game. He does so much on the court. He affects the game. He brings energy. You can see it's kind of like a contagious energy because when he gets going, he's kind of a little bit more animated. Kind of like how, I'm not comparing him to Manu, but a really cool thing about Manu is when he got an important, timely bucket, he would celebrate and it would get the team going. It would get people going. And I'd see a little bit of that from Richardson. He would hit the couple threes in a row. He'd celebrate, look at his teammates, yell at the crowd. Like a little bit of that, especially from a vet, not some young guy who hasn't really been there before. I mean, Jay Rich has been around. So, really liked what I saw from him. And, McDermott's been slumping lately. And I'm just some dumbass fan on the internet, and I'm not going to say bench this guy, sit that guy, and play this guy. But honestly, the Spurs should bench and sit Doug McDermott and play Josh Richardson. I'm just kidding, but consider it. Jakob had a rough game until the last 5 minutes. No, the fourth quarter. Jakob got in foul trouble early, and I swear it looked like the Lakers were pursuing that because Russell drew an early one on Yak, and he kind of laughed and pointed at the bench like, told you I was going to get him. And then Yak got again, and he was sitting down 2 minutes into the game. So Zach Collins went in. Zach Collins, he's getting outclassed. He's been getting outclassed a lot. He's just a little bit light, not explosive enough. I think it has to do with the injury and coming off of it. I think he'll be fine, but he's definitely more of a skilled guy at the big than he is a presence or a force or anything like that. Almost more of a 4 in a 5's body, but not even a 5's body because he's pretty skinny. Anyway, Jock came in, and Jock looked great. I loved the way Jock looked. He just, he's smart with his body. He gets himself in good positioning. He can test shots. He's good at finishing. He finishes at the rim pretty well for being an undersized 5 in the NBA. But obviously, he can shoot the 3. I love the minutes they got from Jock. But when Jakob went back into the game, he didn't look so good. He looked soft, and obviously what he was trying to avoid was the third foul. But Jakob with 2 fouls is like Dwight Howard in 2022. Terrible. He was soft. He wasn't contesting at all. I mean, it just looked like him having to tone back his defense kind of, that's how he sets the tone for himself. He's a defensive player. Jakob's a defensive presence first. I think we would all agree that's his biggest utility as an NBA basketball player. And when he had to tone that back, I think that took him out of rhythm all around, because you hear Sean Elliott griping about him not dunking all the time, and sometimes that's overblown, I think. But today, I feel like Jakob was missing out on some opportunities where he could have dunked. He's really crisp with that floater, with that little papa shot, as Bill Land calls it. But I think he defers to that a little bit too much, especially today. He had a couple lanes where I think he could have taken one more step and just slammed it. But in the last 5 minutes of the game, my guy hit over 50% from the free throw line. Let's go honkin'. He did really good. He had some clutch rebounds. He had a clutch one-handed rebound after someone missed both free throws. I'm blanking on who it was, but he got a one-handed rebound, pulled it in, and went right back up, and it made up for the 2 missed free throws. Free throws were a problem. That was scaring the shit out of me. I mean, we all know how it goes. A couple weird trips to the line early in the game, or people who hit their free throws, maybe miss 2, maybe go 2 for 4, and then someone else who you don't expect it from starts missing, and then Jakob goes to the line and he does his thing, and then it's like, oh my God, we're just missing free throws. But hey, my guy Jakob, he went over 50% in the last 5 minutes, and that's all you can ask for, especially when they're fouling him. He drained those last 2 to ice the game, and the Spurs won. I touched on him earlier. Trey Jones, Josh Primo. Energy guys. Extreme energy guys. Defensive energy. Poking balls. Running around. Making things happen. Getting their own. Getting others involved. I like what these 2 guys bring. I like them together. I like when they're out there and DeJounte's out there and it's them 3 and it's just like hands everywhere. And like Primo's poking balls out and Trey Jones is throwing great passes and just dimes, and DeJounte can kind of slow down a little bit and take a breather but still impact the game, because we're at a point where if we're going to win games, DeJounte has to play a shit ton of minutes. And to have Trey out there able to be a floor general but a low maintenance floor general, it's really, really helpful for DeJounte down the stretch. Primo, like I said, man, this guy's getting his hands on balls, poking balls, but he's just really crafty. He had that up and under, almost nailed the layup between 2 defenders in the clutch of the game, and I think Jakob cleaned it up. Sick, crisp moves. I love his active live shot, man. He gets the ball, and he's popping into his form. He gets the ball, and his feet just set super quick, and he's bouncing. He has a really quick hop for his shot. It's really cool to see. Once he gets a little consistency going, a little bit more confidence, he got some rook calls. He got rooked tonight a couple times. Did y'all feel the same way? I feel like he got rooked a couple times with some weird ass calls. I mean, he was playing against a veteran team, and he's the youngest guy in the NBA. Youngest guy in the NBA versus the oldest team in the NBA. Yeah, he got rooked, but that's to be expected. Let's go down the box score and talk about anybody that I missed. Kelden Johnson, decent game. I'm unsure about Kelden. He's young. We have to see how it pans out. He's kind of playing out of position too, but makes me a little nervous when he has the ball in his hands. Because, he's having a great spot-up shooting year, but, 1 for 5 tonight. It just makes me a little nervous with the ball in his hands. I think it's because he's just young and just part of it, and he's being asked to do a lot for what he kind of can do right now. But let's look for him to bounce back a little bit and get back to where he was last game, hitting every shot. Up and down, but I think that's to be expected, and I think any feeling I have is probably knee-jerk. We saw DeJounte had a great game. Jay Rich, 4 for 5 from 3, massive on defense, plus 11. just a solid game from Jay Rich. I want to see more of him for sure. Zach Collins, I'd be happy if I saw Jock a lot more. Based on what I've seen so far, I think Zach's a year away from being back to where he wants to be. And even then, Jock might be better than him, dude. Jock's really good. Trey Jones, great game, energy guy. Oh, Romeo Langford, we saw him for the first time. He was playing some good defense on Melo. He was keeping his hands up. You could see him trying to keep his hands up and just keeping his chest on him and just staying right on him. And I think there was some good fortune in there. I think he got a foul called against Melo just from playing tough defense on him. He looked like a team player. He was moving the ball. He had that driving dunk. He looked solid out there. Pop did say he got nicked up though. Couldn't return to the game, so we'll have to look for an update there, but he's not going to get a lot of opportunities with the other young players that are already on this team that the Spurs have been committed to for a couple of years now. But it'd be nice to see him now and then in small stretches just to see exactly what he can bring. Really cool. Happy to see him play, especially in the win. Let's check out how the standings look after a win against a team that the Spurs are contending with for that last spot. Lakers, right here, they're only 3 games ahead of the Spurs now, 3.5. They're going to drop a bunch of games. They don't look good. Malik Monk's really good, but they are only just now unleashing him. I mean, he's been there a while, but they kind of put him on the bench and let other guys play. Avery Bradley, Trevor Ariza kind of play ahead of him. Ariza's not playing anymore, but Bradley's still playing a lot. It's just, they were feeding him today, but LeBron's not playing. I think Malik Monk's going to be the key for them. But they look not great. They just don't look that great, and it takes LeBron scoring 56 for them to win a game these days. And then he has to sit out the next game because, it takes a lot. He's got a lot of mileage on him. Pelicans have been hot, but they got Jokic to last game. I don't know if y'all saw Jokic torched the Pelicans in overtime. They dropped one. Like I said, Blazers, we're not taking them super seriously. I think the Spurs are going to do better than them, but, you just got to see it play out first. They're dropping games left and right. They lost by 30 today, I think. And, yeah. But let's go ahead and see who the Pelicans play. At Memphis, they could very well lose that game, but then they have a couple easy ones. Home versus Orlando. I say they're easy ones. Charlotte and Houston. Charlotte can get you. They're an offensive fireworks kind of team. Houston's been playing better. Then they play Phoenix, and then the Spurs get them. So let's see how things go for them between now and when they come play the Spurs in San Antonio. Lakers, they could drop any of these. At Houston, who's been playing better. Washington, you would think is a winnable game for them, but Porzingis is playing now. And Lakers kind of just can't do anything against opposing bigs that are good. So we'll see what happens in that Washington game. It'll be interesting. At Phoenix, going to be tough. Toronto's going to be tough. Minnesota's going to be tough. Yeah, they could drop a bunch of games. And like I've said before, when the Lakers lose, the Spurs win because the Spurs go up in the standings and the Spurs have their second-round pick. So the more that the Lakers lose, the higher the Spurs pick gets. So let's just keep rooting for the Lakers to lose. Spurs look to keep the streak going at home versus Toronto next game. Hopefully the Spurs can get it together and win another one. Hopefully some guys can come back, help the team out. I'd like to see maybe the rotation open up a little bit. I think Dougie needs to get a little bit less and need to get Richard in there and just see what these guys haven't proven themselves yet can do at this point in the season, because tonight they showed they could do some things. Want to see more Primo, want to see more Trey. Let's just see the Spurs keep it going. I said the Spurs need to win 2 games this week. 1 down, 1 up. It's a win. We'll call it 1 up, and 3 to go. So let's get 1 more of these last 3. Go Spurs, go!